here's the part I can't stop thinking about. Most AI demos assume the data is clean. Real companies are basically the opposite.
Right. The demo dataset is beautiful. Then you walk into a hospital, a mine site, a finance team, a warehouse, and the data has 1,000 little scars.
Welcome to Market Signal, presented by Oakhampton. Today we're talking about Enli, an Australian AI company with a pretty sharp wedge, prediction from very large datasets that come from different systems and do not naturally agree with each other.
And I like that word prediction, because this isn't really a chatbot story. It's about whether an organization can trust the next number.
That is the key distinction. If a language model gives you a polished answer on top of bad data, you have not solved the problem. You have made the wrong answer sound more confident.
Exactly. And in some settings, that's annoying. In others, it's expensive. A credit decision, a liquidity forecast, a hospital staffing plan, a mine plan, those are not places where vibes are enough.
So the old answer is, clean everything first. Spend months standardizing fields, reconciling systems, and trying to create the perfect dataset before the model is allowed near it.
Which sounds sensible until you've lived through one of those projects. They drag, they cost a fortune, and by the time the model ships, the business has changed again.
Enli's argument is more interesting. It says messy, disparate data is not always just noise. Sometimes the mess is carrying local context. The trick is having a mathematically grounded architecture that can read across enough signals without pretending everything is perfect.
That's the part that makes it feel differentiated. They call the approach synergistic inference architecture. The plain English version is, don't bet everything on one clean column. Use the mathematics of the whole system to find the pattern.
And their public research paper has a great title, From Garbage to Gold. It lays out the mathematical case for why high-dimensional, imperfect data can still produce robust prediction if the architecture is designed for that world.
Now, that does not mean magic. It does not mean bad data stops mattering. It means the system should know when there is enough evidence to infer something and when there isn't.
That is a very investable problem if they can execute, because every serious company is trying to use AI, and every serious company also knows its internal data is not as clean as the board deck suggests.
Let's make it concrete. In finance, you might be forecasting liquidity, fraud risk, or credit exposure. The inputs move all the time. If the model is confidently wrong, you can lose real money very quickly.
Insurance is a clean example too. Actuarial work depends on patterns across huge pools of claims, customer behavior, pricing, reserves, and risk factors. If Enli can improve prediction across disparate datasets, that is directly relevant.
In operations, it might be staffing, maintenance, supply chain, or production planning. The model does not need to sound clever. It needs to help someone make a better decision on Tuesday morning.
And healthcare is a useful proof point because the data is messy, but the stakes are obvious. Enli points to a large Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi study using real-world hospital data, which is exactly the kind of environment where clean lab assumptions break.
What I like commercially is that Enli is not trying to win by saying, our model is bigger. They're saying the system around the model matters. The data architecture matters. The reliability of inference matters.
And that gives it a clearer market position. It's not just AI software. It's decision infrastructure for organizations where being roughly right is valuable and being confidently wrong is dangerous.
So the positive investment question is, where does this become the wedge? Is it insurance and actuarial teams? Finance and risk? Healthcare operations? Mining and industrial planning? The same core problem shows up in all of them.
And that is encouraging because it gives Enli several credible beachheads. The buyer is not buying abstract architecture. They are buying fewer bad decisions, faster deployment, and a model they can govern.
Exactly. The best version of this story is not just technical. It is that Enli can become part of the reliability layer for enterprise AI, especially where large, messy, high-stakes datasets are already sitting inside the business.
That is why I think this is investable enough to spend real diligence time on. Enterprise AI is moving past novelty demos into accountability, and Enli is focused on one of the problems that has to be solved for that shift to work. That is where Enli becomes interesting. If they can make messy operational data predictive without forcing customers into endless preparation work, they have a strong wedge into high-consequence enterprise AI.
And that is the investment question worth spending time on. Can Enli turn ugly real-world data into reliable decision intelligence before the market accepts that this is a category of its own?
This has been Market Signal, presented by Oakhampton. For qualified investors or strategic partners interested in Enli, contact Oakhampton for the appropriate introduction pathway. This is information only, not investment advice or an offer of securities.